Hello and happy Shadow and Bone release day. Okay, technically it comes out at midnight, but I'm watching it at midnight and binging the show. So we're vlogging. I have been anticipating the show for about 2 years, ever since they announced it, which was like in 2019, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, 2 years. The Grishaverse and Six of Crows and just A Shadow and Bone in general is one of my favorite stories. I absolutely love it, and I'm so excited to watch this adaptation. So I decided to vlog my reactions and vlog my day in general. I'm going to be talking about each episode very briefly in between each episode, and of course I will do a full review at the end of all the episodes at like 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, where I will be talking about whether or not I think this was a successful adaptation. We'll talk a little bit more in a bit, but first I am going on a supply run for coffee and snacks because that is going to be very important today. Let's go. All right, I've freshened up a little bit because I definitely took a nap in attempts to just completely ruin my sleep schedule so I can watch this at midnight. So let's talk about my expectations, my hopes, basically my wish list of this show. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what I think makes a good adaptation. For me personally, I don't expect a adaptation to be exactly like the book. In fact, I hope that adaptations aren't exactly like the book. They should be fresh takes. They should be exploring the world in a way that you can't really explore the world on a page. I think it is super unrealistic to expect an adaptation to be exactly like the book. There are certain elements, of course, that I do expect to be the same. Number one, the overall themes of the story. What was the book trying to convey? And of course, different people pick up different themes. So because they're, are directors, producers, things like that, people are going to have different takes, and this is going to be one take. However, there should be that overall arcing theme that brings it all together. And most importantly for me is the characters. Are the characters true to who they are in the books? Do they go through similar arcs? Do they have the same kind of objectives and goals? For me, that's what makes or breaks an adaptation. Is so many times we see these adaptations where it's clear the actor didn't really have a clear understanding of what the character is, either because they didn't read the book, or obviously their director had just a very different take and wanted to make it edgy. What's going to be very interesting about this adaptation is, of course, the fact that, first of all, Shadow and Bone was written in 2012. My biggest hope is that certain tropes and themes get updated to our modern times, and for what I am understanding, it has been. Things have changed a lot in the past, almost 10 years. About 2012 was 10 years ago. That is frightening. I have also heard a lot about how there is going to be social commentary within the show, how there is going to be talks about race and things like that. I think that's a really interesting take, especially looking at later books in the Grishaverse. It definitely is more prominent versus the original Shadow and Bone, the Grisha trilogy. The other thing about Shadow and Bone, and one of my biggest problems with the book, even though I love the book, is that it is from a first-person limited perspective. All we see is Alina's perspective. So with the TV show, we're gonna see a lot more of the world. We're gonna see a lot more of the other characters. We're gonna get to see how those characters are feeling, what they're perceiving. It is my firm belief that if Shadow and Bone wasn't written in first-person limited perspective, more people would be Mal stans. I love Mal. I just love him as a character, and I think the reason why people don't like him as much in the books is because we only see him as Alina sees him. We only perceive what Alina sees. So because we are getting that outside perspective, we're seeing Archie portray Mal, and we're seeing him go through all of the emotions that Mal is going through, and we aren't just seeing it as Alina sees it. I feel like people are going to like Mal a lot more. I am going to call everyone out who's just we love him because he's hot. like him because of his character. As for the crows, I'm very excited to see where the crows are when we start out, just in terms of their relationship. So this is all brand new kind of information that we're getting. So this is post Jesper and Inej joining the dregs, but they aren't at the same sort of like comfort level and like friendship level as they were at the beginning of Six of Crows. So I'm excited to see kind of like where they are in terms of their relationships, and also just where they are in terms of their mentality. The perspective that I am most nervous and excited about is, of course, my favorite character in all the Grishaverse, Nina Zenik. We have like the least amount of information about Nina's timeline in terms of this show. From what we've seen, it seems like her timeline has shifted up a lot. I'm worried about what that's going to do for Nina's character and for her relationship with the other characters. In the Shadow and Bone trilogy, Nina is young. She's super young. She is a student still in the little palace. And I think that her being a student and her being like still like a younger teen at that time, it definitely affected her like growing up and how she like had to grow up really fast. It also affected her relationship with a lot of the other characters, namely Zoya. I think it's not going to affect things as much in this season. However, I am concerned about how it's going to affect things going on to later seasons. I am excited to see it, and I believe that Danielle, I'm going to go in with the mentality that Danielle does a really good job, and I'm excited to see that. So yeah, those are kind of my like general expectations. So next time you see me will be when the show is starting at midnight. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Hi, so we have about 10 minutes before, we have like 9 minutes before the show, and I am just like, the past hour and a half, I've just been doing laps around my house because I'm just so excited. I haven't felt this level of excitement for like the premiere of something since like Deathly Hallows Part 2. I don't even have words to describe. These books just mean so much to me, and I cannot wait to see what they do for this adaptation. I'll check in with you guys at the end of episode 1 because I'm not gonna be doing like reactions during the episodes because I want to be able to enjoy and focus, but I'm here. I'll be checking in between episodes. Let's do this thing. Let's go into the Grishaverse. Go and say hi for the vlog.
Hello.
That was the quietest hi.
I didn't change right now.
Looks different on mine. I need to get a better view from your
She's
control.
so cute. Okay, I just finished episode 1. I need to start 2 already. It's just looking so good. There's definitely some changes here and there, just in terms of like general storyline and how it is incorporating the crows. But like, I'm loving it. I'm like, it looks so good. It looks like the book, y'all. I can't, but like, okay. Episode 2, here we go! Okay, I just finished episode 2, and just the relationships in this show I am absolutely loving, and I'm loving the fact that we are getting to see Mal's perspective. Like I said before, that was like my biggest problem with the books, was that it was all from Alina's perspective, so we never even really got to see what Mal was thinking. So I'm loving his perspective. Ben Barnes, y'all, he's so good. He's so good. Like, you can just see everything in his eyes, and it is incredible. You can see him thinking things through. And then also, like, similarly, Freddie Carter. Holy crap! Everything with the crows, I am loving. I'm loving their relationships. I'm loving seeing that we are kind of at the beginnings of Inej, Kaz, and Jesper's friendship. Like, there's already kind of that like baseline friendship, but you can see it starting to grow. You can see it starting to mean something to them, and I am absolutely loving it. I like already cried once. I cried a couple times. The visuals and the costumes are also just stunning. So it It's so good so far, y'all. I'm about to start episode 3. I love Mal and Alina. I love them so much. So I just finished episode 3. I'm already crying. I just finished episode 3 and it's so good. I'm loving the use of the letters that Alina is writing to Mal. I just think that the way of narration is so beautiful. The crows, the goat. The way I already know there's gonna be a fandom for this stupid goat and I love it. I'm ready for it. I am very curious about this conductor character. We have some theories in our group chat that we're all watching together. Possibly something involving Stormhond, I don't know. And this episode we get Nina and Matthias. Okay, I'm curious. I'm so curious about how, so like obviously Nina's story has changed. We are seeing her like get captured, which is happening a lot earlier than when it happens in the books. But even before that, she's like working as a spy, but not for Ravka, which is very different and kind of out of character for Nina, just because Nina is like so devoted to like making sure that her people are safe. So I'm interested to see where they go with that. I do think that so far though, she's pretty badass. That whole fight sequence, super cool. And I'm loving her style of fighting. We got to see Jenya, my love. Yeah, there's so much. There's so much happening. I'm really enjoying this though. It's so fast paced and the different like storylines all happening is just really moving the story forward. So I'm very, very excited about that. And also Alina calling Mal her true north. I love. We did also meet the Apparat. That guy. We do not like that guy. Episode 4, here we go. So I just finished episode 4. I have a lot of emotions. I love Mal so much. And the fact that Alina is doubting him, I mean, I get it. I understand why she's doubting him. It just is so frustrating because we know, and I love that we are getting his letters and his perspective. Like one of my favorite things, and there's bonus material in one of the books that has Mal's letter to Alina, and it is one of my favorite things in the book. So I'm so happy that we are getting that in this. I'm really enjoying Nina. My girl, my love, Nina Zenik. You can feel the tension between her and Matthias. I love them so much. I think that the two of them have really great chemistry, which I am very happy about because Nina and Matthias, they have to have that like connection. They have to have that like pull to each other. The crows, oh my gosh, the heist. First of all, Jesper, love him. I love Jesper. He's one of my favorite characters. I say that about all the characters, but like here, Kit is doing such a good job with Jesper. I am loving him. And the heist, just everything that happens, so good. There also is that tension between Inej and Kaz, all the unsaid things that I just love about them. I love the Darkling as a character. I think he's a fantastic character. I don't like the Darkling. Ben is upsetting me because he's doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job of just drawing Alina in and making her feel special, which is something that she craves. That's what she wants, is she wants to find a home and she wants to feel special and she wants to feel loved. And you can see him manipulating, you can see him doing all of that, and it's really good. It's really good. Him finding those moments to show her his vulnerability. I'm so happy that it's this good. Like, it definitely could have like gone not well because I've been burned in the past by adaptations. I'm so thrilled that it's this good. Okay, let's go on to episode 5. Y'all, I love dumb bitch Alina. She's my favorite. She's so stupid and I love her. Okay, so I just finished episode 5. There was a lot to unpack in that episode. First of all, heist that just completely goes wrong, but then somehow works out is my favorite Crows situation. Because that's every heist they do. They can't... Have they ever actually pulled off a heist that, like, goes the way they plan it to? I don't think they have. And yet, it always works out for them. Mal and the Darkling in the room together. The whole, like, Mal knows everything about Alina and Mr. Darkling dude doesn't, but then he uses Mal to get her flowers. Ugh, pissed about that. I hate the Darkling. And then, of course, there is the scene that we all knew was coming up, was after the demonstration, and they're in his office, whatever, the war room, and do I want to be Jesse or Ben in that situation? I don't know. I'd take either. So, of course, my favorite, we get to see Jenya and David flirt. There was something that happened, though, that isn't supposed to happen until End of Siege and Storm with Marie. Rude, don't take Marie from me so soon. Give us a little time with her. Come on now. Okay, I'm ready for this next episode because I already see Nina and Matthias. I'm not ready, but I'm ready. Episode 6. Here we go. Hi. So it is 5 a.m. I'm still crying. I don't know why I literally just started crying over Nina and Matthias. Because it's right out of the books, and I love them. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. I just love them so much. Also might be because it's 5 a.m. So I'm a little emotional right now. We need to keep these emotions in check. This episode, incredible. I feel like I'm saying that after every single episode. Between the Nina and Matthias moments, and then of course the Alina and Mal moments of them together, and it's right out of the book, but then we also get the perspective of, like, whatever his stupid name is, General Kurgan, the Darkling, hunting her. I just love that we're getting this, like, zoomed out perspective of the books. All these things where we, like, don't know how they found stuff out. We're finding out how they figured it out, and it's so cool. And then just having the Crows there. It's just so much fun. There's the Darkling versus Kaz moment, which is not something I thought I ever needed. No, I knew I needed it. And Kaz, incredible. And also just Inej, I'm blown away by Inej and her. I think it's so interesting that we have her in this more like a fresh moment before she has killed people, and this is the first time she's ever killed anyone. And also, like, her seeing Alina and being like, this is the saint that we've been waiting for. I think it's just so beautiful to be able to see those moments. Obviously very different than the books with those moments, but I'm loving them. I'm loving the way it's also interwoven. Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the fact that, like, the Darkling, first of all, has a name that people refer to him as, General Kurgan, but also, like, the fact that he's already told Alina his name in, like, a very casual way, and that Alina has, like, told other people. Like, it feels wrong. It just feels wrong. But I'm about to start episode 7. This is the one that the cast and, like, all the interviews have been talking about. So I'm excited to see what happens in this episode, but I'm also stressed. More episodes to go. I can't believe it. Hi, this is an unscheduled check-in because we just watched the Darkling create the Shadowfold, and that was terrifying. That was absolutely terrifying. No, sir. with the black and the ooh, oh gosh, okay. So that's a thing. That's a thing that I just had to watch, was the making of the Volcra and him using the cut on a lot of people, which, like, I was right, the cut does look like Fruit Ninja, so that's cool. Oh my god. Okay, cool. I do appreciate the fact that Ben Barnes had the long hair, though. Long-haired Ben Barnes appreciation right now. Because it just looks like Prince Caspian again, and I enjoy that. So that's a thing. But also he's terrifying, and I don't like that. It's like if Caspian went to the dark side. And I hate it. Anyway, I guess I'll finish this episode, even though I don't like it. They said the thing! They said no mourners, no funerals. I'm emotional. They said it. So I just finished episode 7. The most unhinged episode. Holy crap. I can't even, like, first of all, amplifier, disgusting. I hate it. No. The thing where it goes into the skin, absolutely not. I don't know who made that decision. They need to be stopped. They need to just be, no. We had some beautiful Knej moments. We had beautiful bestie moments between Inej and Jesper. And just, this is the episode. I mean, like, I feel like end of episode 5 to 6 is where you really go, oh, yeah, no, the Darkling, he's the villain. Because definitely before that I was like, oh shoot, wait, I love him. I know he's terrible, but I love him. And then you get to episode 6 and you're like, oh, absolutely not. And then you get to episode 7 and it's like, no, absolutely unhinged, this man. This is why we don't trust men. This right here. So that's fun and exciting. The sun is rising and I'm about to start our last episode. Am I gonna rewatch all of this again after I take a nap? Probably. It's so good. It's so good. Let's go. Episode 8, here we go. I finished. It is 7 a.m. It is 7 a.m. and I have officially finished. The sun is up. Great way to end. Let's see, I took a 2-hour nap yesterday, but other than that, I have been awake since 5 a.m. yesterday. It was so good. It was so good. Okay, quick thoughts on that last episode. Squad goals is the Crows and Zoya and Alina and Mal. Something I never thought I would see. The whole Nina Matthias thing, so good. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what we get in season 2, and there freaking better be a season 2 or I will lose my mind. I'm gonna give final thoughts after I pull myself together. All right, so I have freshened up in attempts to not look like I've been awake for 26 hours, even though I definitely have been awake for basically 26 hours, arriving right now. Let's talk about the show. If you can't tell from all my reaction clips, I overall was so incredibly satisfied with this show. I think it did a fantastic job of taking this story that we love, building off of it to really expand the universe. Let's talk about first the plot and the pacing. So this was definitely a fast-paced show. I never really felt like it was dragging, except honestly, the beginning of episode 7, while it was epic, it was oh, we are getting an info dump. It was basically an info dump in TV form. It was cool. It did feel kind of out of place though. I never really felt like it was dragging. I mean, I definitely would not have been able to stay awake this entire time if I was bored at all. I would have fallen asleep. The plot itself followed the books very much to a T, with the addition of the Crows. So the Crows timeline obviously is added. However, if you were to take the Crows away, the actual shadow and bone plot follows really, really closely to the book. What the Crow's POV does is it allows us to see different elements that we wouldn't have seen if we were just following the shadow and bone characters. It allows us to see like the overall expanded universe and the different countries. With their POVs, we're able to see different relations with different like countries and cultures, things like that. And I think that definitely helped with the overall pacing of the show. I think besides the Crow changes, the biggest changes for me were things like the Darklings kind of backstory. We don't get a ton of the Darklings backstory in the books, and what we do piece together, it is kind of different to what we got in the like flashbacks in the show. Let's kind of talk about the characters. So first of all, of course, we have Alina, our sun summoner. I think Jessie May Lee did a fantastic job of portraying Alina. My favorite thing about Alina is her sense of wanting to belong. That is a huge overall arcing theme of her character in the 3 books. She wants to find people she belongs with because she's always kind of felt like an outsider. I really liked seeing how she went from being like super uncomfortable in the little palace and being like, this is not my home, I was just thrown here, to making friends and finding a place of belonging, and then having that belonging taken away. I also love the way that she conveyed Alina's compassion, because that is a huge thing for Alina, with things like sparing the stag and her compassion towards the Darkling. Even when she's mad at him, even when she feels so incredibly betrayed, she does still keep that compassionate side towards like him, towards Genya, when she figures out that she's kind of been betrayed by her. She understands where they're coming from, but she also knows when something is wrong and when the other characters are taking things too far. Speaking of the Darkling, I am not a Darkling stan. I can say that with 100% conviction. However, like with the book, he really gets you in that first half. I think that Ben Barnes did a fantastic job of portraying the Darkling in a way where you like really feel for him for those first like 5 episodes. And then as soon as you see kind of what he's doing and it like flips, you're like, red flag, huge red flag, oh no. And he just becomes slowly more and more unhinged. The only thing I didn't really like about some of the changes to the Darkling were, 1, giving him a name. I think that took away some of the power behind the Darkling of being this kind of like presence of it's the Darkling. He's not just General Kurgan. He's this all-powerful being. And so then when Alina does start to get closer to him, she like feels like, wow, I can see his humanity. I can see what makes him different and I can relate to him. That also made it so that his name reveal didn't feel that much like a reveal. It just kind of like was a, oh hey, you get to call me by my first name, as opposed to it being like no one else really knows what his real name is. And also it just coming so soon felt really weird. As I predicted, getting to see Mal's perspective of things just fleshed out his character so much more. I have been a huge Mal stan from the beginning. I love Mal. I don't think he's boring. For some reason, I guess people find him boring. But I love the fact that we did get to see his perspective of things, because in the books, with it being first person POV and like limited perspective to just Alina, we never really get to see his side of things and how he really feels towards Alina. It's just how Alina perceives him to feel towards her. So I think being able to see that outside perspective just fleshed him out so much more as a character. And also I just thought that Archie was so lovely and so adorable as Mal. I, of course, also have to shout out Genya, David, our loves. We love them. We don't get to see them a ton, but what we do get to see them, I just think their characterization is fantastic. The other character that's pretty prominent that isn't really prominent in the first Shadow and Bone book is Zoya. Zoya we don't really see a lot in the first book. We do see her a lot more in the show, and I I love her. I think that the actress is wonderful, and I already am starting to see the development that I really love from Zoya and her relationship with Alina. So yeah, I'm very excited for her. Looking at the crows, we have Kaz, Inej, Jesper. So the three of them I thought were really interesting because we kind of see them towards the beginning of their like understanding of each other, as they're getting to know each other, as they're kind of becoming that close-knit friend group that we see in Six of Crows. They're still learning the ins and outs of what they need in order to work together, which I think is just so fun being able to see from the beginning. Kaz, I think, is the most different from the book, just because in the book, we don't really see Kaz's emotional intelligence come to light until like halfway through Crooked Kingdom. Until then, he very much is like pushing his emotions down, doesn't want to reveal anything, thinks that emotions are a weakness. And in the show, he definitely is like getting more in touch with his emotions from the beginning. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. It'll be interesting to see for future seasons how they handle that and like what that will mean for his character. And then of course we have Jesper and Inej, who feel like they came straight out of the books. Like, if any characters were like the most true to the books, it is the two of them. I think honestly Inej might be my favorite of all the characters. I thought she was so amazing, Amita. Like, her, like, having to kill someone for the first time in order to protect Kaz and, like, struggling with, like, doing what she needs to survive and also, like, staying true to her faith, I think was a really, really cool element. And then, of course, Jesper, who very easily could have just been, like, a comic relief character, and he did have those moments where it's like, oh, we can breathe because here's Jesper. He still was so like whip smart about things. It very easily could have been played not very intelligent. Jesper's smart. Jesper's a smart dude. He just made some bad choices, and I just think both of them were perfect, just absolutely perfect. And then of course we have Nina and Matthias. Nina is my favorite character in the Grishaverse. I absolutely love her. Being able to see her come to life on screen, it's so good. I think Danielle did a fantastic job of capturing Nina's essence, and the scenes between the two of them just were straight off the pages. Like, it was dialogue straight from the book, which is just wild. Like, being able to see it, I felt like I was picturing what I was seeing in my head. Do I still wish that Nina was played by a plus-size actress? Yeah. But I think Danielle did a fantastic job of capturing Nina's overall being, which I was very appreciative of. I was hesitant at the beginning because they did push Nina's timeline really far forward. So I'm interested to see how they handle that in terms of like future seasons and her interactions with the different characters in that way. I did love that we got to see her meet the other crows at the end. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And yes, I do keep saying future seasons because Netflix would be freaking crazy to not renew this show. It's so well done. And already I'm just seeing so much hype around it. Like, come on, Netflix, you gotta do it. So what do I hope to see in future seasons? Well, I definitely am looking forward to seeing how they integrate the Crow storylines with the Shadow and Bone storyline. I think they did a really good job of integrating this like sort of prequel story in with Shadow and Bone. I'm definitely wondering if they are going to bring any of the like actual Six of Crows timeline forward, or if they're going to hold off a little bit. I, of course, am very excited to eventually see Stormhond, my favorite privateer. And yeah, I'm just overall looking forward to seeing how they expand the universe, because I think that's something that was a huge focus in the show adaptation, is them expanding on the universe and seeing more than just Ravka and seeing like the internal affairs of Ravka. So did I think this was a good adaptation? Yeah, I thought that it did a really good job of capturing the overall themes and arc of the story while still translating it really well to the screen and making it captivative to us, the audience, and showing us something new. Because if it was just the same story as in the books, it would get a little bit boring, because it's like, okay, well, I know exactly what's going to happen, and then this is going to happen. It needs to be at least a little bit different, which I loved. I loved what they added to the show in order to expand. I also thought that overall the characters did have very similar arcs to what we see in the books, and they stayed fairly true to like their like morals and what those characters believe in. So I'm very satisfied with this adaptation. I'm so excited. There better be a season 2, or that will be my villain origin story, is Shadow and Bone getting canceled. Knock on wood. That's not happening. Well, I need sleep. So with that, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to hit subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, bye!